Hello there, welcome once again to Blackpool. It's the 888.com World 8-Ball Pool Championships 2005, coming to you from the Hilton Hotel on the seafront in Blackpool. And tonight it's the men's final. In many ways it's the final that so many people wanted. It's the young star Gareth Potts up against the two-time former champion Chris Melling. And with me here in the studio, Lee Kendall, who's a former finalist himself. This really should be quite a match.
Yeah, it should be a fast match, both aggressive players, so it'll be very, very entertaining, I would have thought.
Gareth is the man very much in form. He's had a great season, hasn't he? But Chris, of course, can be brilliant at times. Well, they both can, so this is going to be some treat.
That's right, you've got a two-time world champion against somebody who everybody says will be a world champion one day, and he's going to try and make it tonight.
For Gareth, of course, he's just 21. It would be a wonderful thing to become the new world champion, wouldn't it?
That's right, he's had a great 12 months. He's moved up to Provisional 1 in the rankings, so he'll be very pleased if he takes a world title as well.
Let's have a look then at the record of the two players. Chris Melling, first of all. Here we are. This is what he's done in the latter stages of the tournament, and he really has been pretty impressive all the way. There's been the odd moment when he's looked a little unsettled, but he's always relied on his just inspirational play to get him out of trouble.
That's right, but he has dropped quite a few frames in most matches he's played, so that will give Gareth a lot of hope.
He seems very relaxed at the moment, though. He can't afford any mistakes against his opponent, Gareth Potts, who has been absolutely brilliant on his progress to the final. And he was particularly impressive, wasn't he, Lee, in that semi-final against Jason Twist?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to give Jason Twist every credit for that performance. Gareth put him under loads of pressure, and Jason come back at him, and Gareth held his nerve and took a memorable win.
You are good pals with both of them, but Gareth in particular, you seem to have struck up a good bond with him, and he's a pretty close friend of yours now.
That's right, yeah, we're from the same area. We've practiced together. I've known him since he was about 13 or 14, so we're good buddies.
And he's looking forward to the big moment.
Oh yeah, he can't wait to get out there. He just wants to get his hand on the table.
So there we are, we're nearly ready then for the start of this final. Just a few moments ago, I spoke to both players.
Well, Gareth's been the best player over the last 2 or 3 months on the tour. He's won 3 out of the last 4 events he's been in, and it's no surprise really to me to see him in the final of this World Championships.
Yeah, Chris is playing great. You know, Chris always seems to perform well here at this tournament, and you know, he's twice world champion. And I always said that if I get to a final of an event, I want to play the best player, and without doubt, you know, Chris is one of the best players. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm
playing well enough to win it. You know, I look at things where my opponent has to beat me. I don't have to beat my opponent, and if I get my chances, hopefully I'll get 11 chances and win 11 frames. And
on a personal note, you've had a tragic loss in the family not long ago. Obviously, a lot of that will be with you tonight.
Without a doubt, yeah. I've no doubt that, you know, he'll be with me, and you know, I'm here. I'm playing for him.
So let's hope your dad's watching then.
Without a doubt, yeah.
Thanks. Well, Lee, that's what Gareth was saying just a few moments ago. He obviously had a lot to deal with the death of his father, but he's obviously used that in some ways as inspiration for him this season.
Yeah, he's not long since passed away, and Gareth's done really well to keep his game and keep his focus to this stage in the World Championships.
So if he makes it, there'll be a special thought for the man upstairs who's watching, eh?
Without a doubt.
Terrific. Thank you for that. OK, look forward to your company later on tonight. Then it should be a terrific match. In a moment we'll be getting commentary from Tony Holgate and Keith Brewer. But first of all, once again, Alan Hughes.
Thank you, David. And first, a man having a tournament young players can only dream of. And this very talented and likeable 21-year-old is trying to become the second player in the game to win the World Junior and Senior titles. Ladies and gentlemen from Stoke-on-Trent, will you welcome the pride of the Potteries, Gareth Potts. And ladies and gentlemen, his opponent trying for a record of his own to win the world title 3 times, and he's breezed his way to today's final with consummate ease. A terrific entertainer. He's sure to make it a match to remember. Will you welcome, please, the magician, Chris Melling.
We're down to just the last 2 players here in Blackpool. Chris Melling has already won his title twice, and he's up against the young man from Stoke-on-Trent, Gareth Potts, bidding to win his first world title. What a final we have in prospect here. Got Keith Brewer with me,
first frame,
an international and quarter-finalist as well. And this, well, I'll be looking forward to this for a long time. This is going to be an absolute belter.
Well, I don't think we could have much of a better world final, really. With Chris, probably the greatest player I've ever seen play on the big table, Tony.
Time running.
I can't remember the last time he's lost a match. He hasn't got off to the best of starts here, scratching straight away on the main break. But his opponent today, it may be a surprise to one or two that he's got here, but certainly not to me, because he's certainly, in the last 12 months, has been the best player on the circuit, and he's now in the provisional #1 position as well. So that tells its own story.
Well, Gareth Potts through his quarter-final and semi-final. What was very noticeable was his break shot. It was absolutely fantastic, better than anybody else's, even Melling's. You see Melling waste his break shot in the opening frame. But his semi-final against Jason Twist, it was something special. I mean, Jason Twist played absolutely brilliantly, but Potts held his nerve and he barely missed a ball in that semi-final. He's elected to take the yellows in this opening frame. What an occasion for this young man, playing in his first world final. And he's been queuing like a dream all the way through this tournament.
Well, he's elected to go on the yellows because they were by far the easier of the two suits. But straight away kind of dropped slightly out of position. It's not the end of the world, because he still had the ball along the rail and he's still in position now. But he's made it a little trickier than what he wanted. It looks to me like the black may be his only problem ball, and I think that goes into the left-hand middle. So if that's the case, we won't see him play any cannons or anything. He'll just go... The main players, Tony, they always tend not to play cannons if they can help it. They're just going to go for the main shots, work around the offending balls that are in the way, and if every ball pots, they'll just pick them off.
Well, a nice comfortable pot there into the centre from Gareth. And he's also trying to stop Melling from rewriting the record books and being the first man to win 3 world titles. So it just shows you what he's up against.
30 seconds.
Must have a couple of early nerves there, you know, his first world final. We've both been there, Keith, and we know what it's like. The opening frames can be the most awkward, can't they, Keith?
Well, I think in all these televised matches, you know, I always found them... It's hard to get straight into your stride kind of thing, but the world final in particular, because it's obviously a packed house, it is different than the others. It's just a privilege to be involved in, and I know like it's Gareth's first one, and it will be interesting, Tony, just to watch and see if he is affected.
30 seconds.
Especially in the early parts of this game. I mean, he's dropped out of position once or twice, but he is experienced enough to know what it's all about. He's played on TV before in other tournaments, and he's a full England international, and of course he is a former world junior champion as well.
Well, he looks very focused out there, there's Gareth Potts. Perfect position on the yellow, black's going in the centre. And he's dealt with the early nerves very well indeed. The left-hander from Stoke-on-Trent. And he has drawn first blood here in Blackpool. Leads Chris Melling by 1 frame to 0. Well, a lovely finish there from Gareth Potts. And it just goes to show there's no nerves there, is there, Keith?
Looked pretty good there to me, and he was out of prime position once or twice, but always got back in. And as I said before, the black only went in the one pocket and he got on it perfectly, black into the centre.
Just very good cue action from Gareth Potts. And now it's going to be him to break as well in the second. And if he can manage to use that break like he did in the semi-final, he's going to be very hard to beat.
Second frame. Gareth Potts to break. Leading by 1 frame to 0.
Well, Gareth Potts strides to the table. Frame number 2 of this world final. Just try and watch the bottom right hand yellow that flies up towards the top left hand corner on his break normally. And that's what he's been so good at all week. Well, he went a bit wide this time, but he's made a couple of balls. But again, it's a very solid break, Keith, isn't it?
Yellow balls
Yeah,
nominated.
most of the top players, Tony, of course, have very good solid breaks. It's something we do work on. It's a little bit different when we're on the big table like this. We have to put a bit more extra effort in. But what Gareth's worked on there is getting a good solid break, and as you can see, all the balls are flying around the table, and that's what you want, because if you're going to make a ball on the break, you need them to be moving.
Well, this is what Potts wants. Keep Chris Melling
30
firmly
seconds.
in his chair. He's just been so solid throughout.
Yellow balls in play.
And he got away with that one a little bit. Could have been stuck behind that yellow, but he can get to the yellow on the bottom rail.
Just reminds me of the first frame there, Tony. He drops his first ball into the middle pocket and hasn't got A1 position straight away, but of course he has got the ball along the bottom cushion, and he's on the right suit as well, because even if he was to rattle this in the pocket, if you look around, the reds are pretty much dead. He'd have the bottom two pockets covered straight away.
30 seconds.
And even if you are, I mean, there's going to be times in this match here where the players are going to break down on a few shots, and if they do, then you've got to have the tactical side as well. I'm not sure we'll see much of it today, because both of these players are very aggressive, but there will be times, you know, and look how easy Gareth makes this look with this particular pot here, along the rail, along the bond cushion, no problem at all, just like the first frame, exactly the same.
Very straight arm again. Kunis superb, he just gets rid of a chalk mark there on the table. And like you said, Keith, there won't be much tactical play during this final. Very down-to-earth young man, Gareth Potts, as well. Very well liked through the pool world. And if he did win it, he'd be a very popular champion. And just look at the shot he's played there. He's one bad yellow, got rid of the red off the top of it, and he's landed on the yellow that's very central. He's going to play this in the centre pocket. We're going to see Gareth Potts going out again.
Yeah, this is what the match is really going to be all about. I think both players are going to go for their finishes at every opportunity. They both manoeuvre the cue ball round very well, and that is the secret to the game. Cue ball control, making your finishes easy. And if you just watch Chris and Gareth play today, you'll learn the secret of the game, and that is to make it easy for yourself.
Well, I'd say probably 60% of this match is going to be on the break. I mean, Chris Melling's been up to the table once, broken, gone in off. And he's not been back to the table since, as Potts plays a great positional shot. Okay, to the cue over the red, but this is going to be no problem to the potter from Stoke-on-Trent. And down goes the black ball, and it's all Gareth Potts at the moment. He now leads Melling by 2 frames to 0.
Third frame. Chris Melling to break, trailing by 2 frames to 0.
Melling now breaking off his packed arena, staring right at the Yorkshireman. Needs a ball off this break. And once again, come up dry, but he's been lucky. And Keith, just look where the cue ball's finished.
Yeah, quite incredible. I saw the top red rattle in the pocket, and I'm thinking, oh no, you know, if you just watch this break, everyone, you watch the top right hand pocket, look, the ball goes in and just rattles, and then the cue ball comes across the table, nestles right up to the yellow. Incredible.
Well, that was the only saviour there for Chris Melling. Nothing available for Gareth Potts. And all he can try and do is get the cue ball safe so Melling can't pot anything. And that's going to be easier said than done.
Time out.
We're just getting our referee Sean Baker to clean the cue ball. Very steady hand. Also spent some time in the commentary box during this tournament, Sean Baker. There you see perfectly placed back for Gareth Potts. Well, now Potts is going to try and flick off this yellow and just get the cue ball dead on the bottom rail, not leave anything for Melling.
Open table.
He's left him a gap to the red at the top of the table, Keith, hasn't he?
He's definitely left him on the red, that's for sure. I can only imagine there Gareth was trying to get the cue ball right underneath the yellow and hasn't quite made it. Now, I'm not saying that either suit are very easy here, but the way that Chris likes to play, he'll definitely be taking on the pot on the red and going reds.
Red balls in
Melling will
play.
just be happy to get his hand on the table and loosen his arm up. He's been sat there in his seat for the first 2 frames of this match, not cued at a ball. So this is a tough shot. He slapped that in with the greatest of ease. And Chris Melling, lovely pot again. Well, what a treat we're in for here. Both players firing bombs at each other. I think he's all right. He's a little bit closer to that red than he'd like, but he's okay. And as you can see, just that dodgy safety shot that Gareth Potts played, and in the blink of an eye, Melling is off the mark. As the Yorkshireman goes back to his seat, that's his first go at the table, and he cleared straight up. But he still trails Gareth Potts by 2 frames to 1. Well, a little smirk there for Chris Melling, as his supporters are quite pleased with themselves, and just look, there's not one empty seat here at the Hilton in Blackpool, and Chris Melling can share a joke with 1 or 2 of the spectators. He'll be a little bit happier now, Keith, when he's got his arm on the table. Hit a couple of balls.
Well, this was the shot here, of course, Tony, where Gareth's tried to get the cue ball right underneath the yellow. And let's face it, these reds weren't easy, but he made them look easy, and that's Chris Melling for you.
Well, Potts now breaking off frame 4. It's a race to 11. And now it's Potts' break that's deserted him.
Open table.
And Melling nearly overtook Potts as he came round the table. We'll have another look at this. And again, the breaks have been
Red balls in play.
hard to come by getting balls from them. And the reds are very open for Melling. And when he gets in his flowing rhythm, he's hard to keep up with, Chris Melling. I know the cameramen have a job to keep up with him down there. And by the time, I know that a couple of times we look round for the finish, Keith, don't we? And by the time we look at one ball, it's already gone in the pocket.
I think this is just one of them matches, Tony, where the players are going to break off, and unless there's a cluster somewhere, you're going to get the finish just about every time.
Well, he's minimised his options here, Keith. Have to play a snip back into the middle, I think, with this red. Now, has he hit it hard enough? And he's hung it.
Yellow balls in play.
Just hit that a bit too thin and caught the jaw of the middle.
This one, Chris.
But what he's done here, Tony, as he's trying to pot this ball, he's trying to develop the other red, and in doing so, he's overcut the red. That's something we do sometimes, you know, just to make sure you get the cannon right. But this will be a challenge for Gareth, because there's nothing easy here for him.
Well, looks as though he's only got a cut with that yellow that's nearest the cue ball into the
30 seconds.
left-hand centre, and that'll have to go off Melling's red. I don't think he has a clear path to anything at the bottom of the table, Keith.
And I certainly can't see anything of a safety shot anywhere on the table, so he's got to play something aggressive. Oh, I'm only wrong. Let's have a look. That's quite a good shot, actually, trying to get the black save.
Well, you see Melling acknowledge that by tapping the table. Well thought out shot there from Gareth Potts. just showing everybody he's not just a one-trick pony, he can play safe.
It's nothing more than a containing shot though, Tony, to be quite honest, because people like Melling, they're good enough to manoeuvre the black back out, and there you go. What a great shot that is.
Well, it didn't stay safe for long, did it? And Melling, well, this is such a great shot. Straight away, powers the ball into the centre and played to kick that black into the open. And there's a super positional shot again from Melling. Just going to drop this red in. He's got the black in the bottom left-hand corner. And this is just pull of the highest quality. This for 2-2. In goes the black, and Melling's right back in it. With 2-2 here in Blackpool. What a match.
So terrific stuff at the start of this men's final, and what do you make of it so far, Lee?
Well, it's terrible, really, isn't it?
Brilliant stuff from both players.
Absolutely brilliant. There's been 4 very good clearances under the pressure. Credit to both players in this final.
Yeah, and really Chris needed to get back that frame there, didn't he? I mean, he's just come back into the match. He looked a bit uncertain at the start.
That's right, because Gareth got off to a good start, went 2-0 up, and Chris potted one good ball, then he was 2 seconds later he was back on the black, so yeah, he's a great player to watch.
So far though, living up to expectations. If it carries on like this, it's going to be a really heck of a final, one to remember.
Yes, it will be, I'm sure it will be.
And still think that Gareth's just going to shade it, do you?
Yeah, on the breaks I think it's going to be on the break. I think he's breaking better than Chris at the moment.
Yeah, that's something that Chris will have to improve. I know he says he's aware of that, and I guess he's been working on it, but we'll see if he can improve as we go back to play.
Well, Melling there just checking the rack. And Sean Baker, the referee, making sure there's no gaps in there.
Okay. 5th frame, Chris Melling to break. 2 frames all.
Well, it's Mr. Melling up to the table to break off in frame 5. With 2-2 in this year's 888.com World Final. And he's made a ball, 2 balls, make that 3 reds off the break. But unfortunately for Melling, he's not landed on any of them.
Well, it's an awesome break, this one. He's certainly picked up here on this. It's not always an advantage to pot, you know, 3 or 4 balls of one suit, because obviously you've got less to work with after that. You could have done with one of them reds staying over the pocket. Even better, Tony, you could get through to the yellow. Yellows are the better suit to be on here anyway.
Well, that's incredible. We thought he couldn't get through that gap. And if he did clear up from here on those yellows, it would effectively be an 11-ball finish. As he potted 3 reds off the break. And he's missed the cannon into the corner. And he's left half a chance for Gareth Potts now, who's going to be on the red balls.
Well, I'm not really sure what to say. He didn't have to play this shot, Tony. He's played a very aggressive shot. The problem is when you're playing a ball into a ball to make a cannon plant kind of thing, what he was doing there is when the first ball hits it, it does shunt to the side, and the harder you hit it, the more it will. So when he's played that shot quite hard, that's why it's actually gone too wide and hit the far jaw. But if he played the shot just a little bit slower, it would definitely have worked.
Well, what a super shot this is from Gareth Potts. Well, I think he's going to have to play the one along the bottom rail. Get an angle on the one in the middle. Still a little bit tricky. He could take the one in the middle, but if he does that now, he's got to get an angle on his last red to get down for this red on the rail.
30
so
seconds.
I think he's approaching it in the right manner. And again, the jaw has kept the ball out.
Cannot believe that stayed out. Just watch this. It's in the pocket, Tony. I can't believe it stayed up.
Well, I have to say that I do feel that this year the pockets on the televised table have definitely been a little bit tighter.
Yeah, certainly when you need to play shots with some weight like Gareth was playing there. Yes, I agree with what you're saying. In years gone by, there was times you could really shunt them up the rail and they'd have it even if they were slightly off.
Well, you've been out there, Keith, and you know what that table plays like. And there's been a few matches in your game and other quarter-finals that, you know, and it does seem to be that pocket a lot as well. I don't know why. We see that one just drifted up the rail. It just glanced it, but anything with pace just seems to stay out. Melling. Has he landed a little bit straight on this? He needs to get the cue ball down at least below the 2 centre pockets. He wanted an angle on the one in the middle to get on his large yellow at the bottom of the table. And this is going to be hard work now, Keith.
Very hard work. 2 options. He's got one is he could clip off it and play the safety, Tony, make sure he hits the rail. And now not often we see this from Melling, but there's the shot.
Well, I think that might be Chris Melling's first safety shot this season. Never mind in the tournament. And Potts is having a look. He can definitely get through to hit the red. He just wants to see if he can get through and pot. And I'll tell you what, I think he can. Very close. So Melling had to play a safety, and it wasn't a very good one.
Thirty seconds.
Yeah, that was careless from Melling to leave him that shot. I know if you'd have been playing that safety shot, Keith, you'd have been super gloomy on that ball.
Thanks, Tony. Yeah, this is a wonderful pot from Gareth, though, off the cushion as well.
Well, just the simple stuff to do for Gareth Potts now. Just checking his waistcoat. He's quite near that yellow ball at the top. And he's not going to let Melling get in front of him, at least for the moment. And then goes the black. Gareth Potts goes back in front. He now leads Melling by 3 frames to 2.
Gareth Potts to break, leading by 3 frames to 2.
Gareth Potts comes to Melling's side of the table to break off. Frame number 6. Just having edged in front once again. He didn't really strike those that well. That break.
He broke
Open
different
table.
there, Tony. If you watch the break again, the white, he's just killed the white in the middle of the table. If we just watch the cue ball here. Now look at the cue ball. Stunned that dead, but what he's done is took some of the power out. He's trying to concentrate on getting a very good cue ball on the break. Just released a bit of power. Of course, if you make a ball, it's great because you're right in the correct position with your cue ball. But unfortunately, on this occasion, not made a ball, and they're all there for Chris. He has got one awkward ball, of course, up there on the side cushion. Now, they're awkward for me and you, Tony, but they're not awkward for the magician.
No, exactly right. They've got time to play, still on one leg. And that is going to be his problem. I wondered if he was going to take it earlier, but he's refused it. So he's going to leave it till last, I think. Maybe not. He might try and get up onto it now. I think that's probably the order of the day. There you see he's looking at the line he needs to be to cut this one in. He's going to leave the red that's closest to the left-hand corner till last to gain position onto the 8. He's just got to get the weight right of this shot. Gently cutting it up the rail. Bringing cue ball past the 8 ball. That's a lovely shot from Melling, and he's perfect. And we'll see that again. Superb. And it's just, you just run out of superlatives to use for both these players. It's just an incredible match. I'm stunned. And then goes the black ball, and it's Melling back level again. 3-3 here at the Hilton in Blackpool. Well, this 888.com World Final is just unbelievable. The standard is the highest that I can remember ever seen. And Chris Melling, he's rather pleased with himself. made short work of those reds. This was his tough ball. He just glided that one up the rail. And then the easy black into the corner. There we see Sean Baker just racking the balls.
7th frame. Chris Melling to break. 3 frames all.
Well, if Melling can get his break going, maybe get his nose in front. He's not led yet in this match. And again, that was a lot softer break than his last one, Keith, wasn't it?
Open table.
Well, they've both eased up on the break. Just wondering if they're thinking that when you really smash in the break, they're not getting the momentum that they want. By just taking a little bit of power out, they get more. Yeah, and definitely Chris has took some more off that. And once again, he's broken very well, but nothing down. No friends at the table here. All the yellows at the bottom pocket. They were queuing up to go in.
Well, it's like they're taking it in
Yellow
turns
balls in
just to
play.
clear up now, these two lads. Amazingly, both of them have been World Junior Champion as well. As Potts just has a little look at that plant down the bottom of the table. Probably beginning to leave that till a bit later. Won't be a lot later. We're averaging about 2 minutes a frame at the moment. Bearing in mind you get a minute a shot, that's not bad going. Well, here we go into the plant. Played it very well. Once again, the finish is now there for Potts. All Melling can do is sit and watch. And they just make this game look ridiculously easy. I can say some of these finishes they're knocking in that are by no means as simple as they're making it look. And this is just brilliant. Just going to stop the cue ball dead now. It's going to have a simple 8 ball into the corner. And once again, it's a flawless visit to the table by Gareth Potts. And he goes back in front. It's now 4-3 to Potts. Well, it's just unbelievable, Keith. And I mean, how do you cope with it?
Well, it's some kind of dream pool, isn't it, really? The players are just going to go for the finishes no matter where they are, as I said before, and that's what makes it look so exciting. But as you said before, Tony, the game could be won and lost today on the break. If someone gets their break going...
8th frame.
Well, they're getting their money's
Gareth
worth
Potts
here
to
in
break.
Blackpool.
Leading by 4 frames
Packed
to
house.
3.
Treated to probably one of the best matches you'll ever likely to see. Potts then breaking off frame 8. It's possible 21, and who's to say we wouldn't go all the way? Yes. 2 reds winning at the top,
Red
a yellow at the
balls
bottom.
spotted.
Amazing break
Yellow
that.
balls in play.
We're going to have another look at this. It's like all 3 balls fell in at the same time. Got a bit more oomph into his break. It's like the 3 balls all fell in roughly around the same time. Incredible break. But has he actually landed on anything, Keith?
Well, he can definitely go yellows because he can go cushion first and make this one near the pocket, although it looks to me like
30
he's playing
seconds.
directly at it. Yes, he could. And such are the way that they're opening up on the breaks. No, it doesn't really matter what set you put them on, I don't think.
Well, Potts got a nice angle on the yellow at the bottom left-hand corner. And if he can get this frame, it'll be the first time anybody's had a bit of daylight since Potts took those opening 2 frames. So when he got 2, Melling fired back with 2. And they've just been going alternate wins since then. fact, the last 4 frames have all been against the breaker. But most of these matches, from quarterfinals to here, the break has not been on anybody's side, apart from the player that comes out the chair afterwards. But this is going against the grain now, because this was Potts' break. And he'll so want to get this frame and just to stretch his lead a little bit more. Melling's going to consider seeing Gareth Potts trying to get away from him and off into the distance. And again, lovely control by Gareth Potts. It's just fabulous to watch. Black ball into the centre pocket. Down it goes, and Potts has restored his 2-frame lead he had earlier. He now leads Melling by 5 frames to 3.
So there's 2-frame lead then for Gareth Potts, and Chris Melling yet to get his nose in front in this final, and it's looking as if he's got more and more of a task on, Chris.
Yes, Gareth's asking him all the questions at the minute. He's making a few balls off the break, getting good splits, so he's in the driving seat at the moment.
Why do you think Chris is maybe not firing on all cylinders? Is there something wrong with his game, or has he just got a brilliant opponent?
I think it's a break. He's just not making balls off the break. That's the only difference in the match so far.
This is Gareth's ability. We've seen what he's been doing, but in fairness, he's not the only one, because Gareth's not been breaking brilliantly all the time.
No, but he's getting more than Chris at the moment.
Yeah, which is the difference. So let's go back to play.
Well, it's Chris Melling here now, breaking off frame 9. Desperate for a ball, and he's got a yellow, 2 yellows. And this is a better break by Melling. He got a bit more force in that one, Keith, and then you wonder why he just took it off the last time.
Well, I think he just maybe experimented. I mean, you shouldn't really do that in the middle of a match, I know, but I think he tried it, didn't like it. He's gone back to the big heavy break, and straight away 2 balls down. It's frame over, Tony, I'll tell you that now. Melling won't miss these. The Reds are very good. And he likes the challenge, Chris, as well. That is for sure. If someone's trying to take his mantle away as being the potting machine on the table, he'll be up for the challenge.
Well, I will confess, just before they went out into the arena, I spoke to Chris Melling and I told him about Potts' semi-final. I said he was out there stealing your thunder, Chris. And he said, I'm not bothered. He said, I only missed a couple of balls in my match. He said, it's not about then, it's about now. And just shows you the confidence of the man. Another good pot by Melling. I mean, for somebody who's 5-3 down, you know, I've seen players like Holder, but did you see him shaking there? His hand was shaking at the back of his cue then, Melling. I've never seen that before, have you?
No. He played, I'll tell you where he's played the careless shot was 2 shots ago, and he's left that one into the middle. He had to go up and down the table, didn't get A1 position, and what he's trying to do there, he's trying to just stun that in the middle. Yeah, you're quite right, Tony, there we can see it as clear as day. Shaking as he's stroked the ball, and that's why the mistake's been made. Tried to stun the white into the yellow, missed it completely.
Well, that's the first sign of any nerves I've ever seen from Chris Melling, and he's gone through the gap and found the corner pocket, and that's going to be 2 visits now to Potts.
2 visits.
And all of a sudden we are now seeing a gap maybe developing here.
Yellow balls in play.
We'll have another look. Well, how unlucky is that to come through there? Looked nice on a trick shot table, but not in the world final. And now I was just wondering if Melling is now asking himself the question for the first time. Am I going to be beaten? I know it's early and it is a race to 11 and it's only 5-3, but you're going to fancy Gareth Potts to get these with 1, never mind 2 visits. And there you see very solid cueing once again from Potts. And a 3-frame lead. I mean, that's big in this match, isn't it, Keith?
Well, yes, it is, because the break is a bit like a tennis serve, isn't it? And you can't afford to drop 1, but when you've dropped a couple, you really are up against it. And as you say, I mean, this is an easy enough visit, just with the 1 shot, but to have 2. That's why Chris didn't roll up to the yellow before. He could have just rolled up to the yellow and took his chances, but not with an opponent like this. You can't do it.
And look how quick Potts is now going around the table. And he's perfect on the black ball. Chris Melling's in his seat, and Potts knocks in the black again and now gets a 3-frame lead. Crowd are going wild. Potts now leads by 6 frames to 3. Well, Gareth Potts, I wonder now if he's just thinking that maybe he can get his hands on that trophy. Well, this is unlucky, Keith. You wouldn't fancy coming through that gap again, would you?
Well, it's harder to get through the gap than hit the ball, isn't it? Simple as that. If you'd have played for the gap, you'd never have got it. So, yeah, you can count himself a bit unlucky, but unless he'd have fluked a ball out of that shot, I think Gareth would have cleared up anyway.
And there it is, the 888.com World Trophy. Both players trying to get their hands round it. At the moment, it's Gareth Potts that's the man that's the nearer to taking it.
Hello again, welcome back to Blackpool. This eagerly anticipated men's final really is living up to all our expectations. The new young star Gareth Potts playing absolutely brilliantly, and the twice former champion Chris Melling struggling to stay with him. Let's see what happens now as we return to the action, and Tony Holgate.
10th frame, Gareth Potts to break. Leading by 6 frames to 3.
Gareth Potts now breaking off frame number 10. He's got a 3-frame cushion in his final. And he's not going to make a ball. Well, that's very
Open
important,
table.
that for Melling, to get to the table.
It's a good solid break though, Tony, to be fair. If we just watch here again, stunned the white in the middle of the table, plenty of power. You can't do no more than that, you know, and then you're relying on just a little bit of luck to make a ball. My first sight of this was, I'd say reds are slightly better, but both suits are there to be taken. Chris will just be pleased that he's getting a chance, because obviously Gareth really isn't missing
Yellow ball's
anything
in
at the
play.
moment.
Well, Melling's a man that we've seen a slight chink in his armour, just maybe with a bit of nerves. Well, he's gone to try and move the one off the rail. He's not moved it far enough. It's still going to be awkward for him. Once again, he's very quick to keep going. Doesn't stop to think about it, just carries on regardless.
It's the way he plays, Tony, you know. But he's got to have a little think here, because he's got to go up for this one on the rail at some point. Oh well, Tony, we're leaving this till last. We're going to be putting this in the top bag and screwing down by the looks of it. Now this is a big shot, Tony, coming up now.
This is huge, because we know how tight these pockets have been with balls going at pace into them down the rails. And he's missed it. And we said,
Red
and you
ball's in
said,
play.
Keith, that should never have left that to last, knowing what the table's playing like.
Yeah, this was an enormous shot to be taken on, really, and as soon as you put any pace in, Tony, you've got to be absolutely millimetre perfect, or it just won't happen. He did well, he was on the black, but unfortunately, if you just look at the reds, they're all there for Gareth now.
Well, Gareth Potts now knows he has a great opportunity here to go into a 4-frame lead. Earlier in this championship, we saw a brand new ladies champion crowned. Are we going to see it followed by a brand new men's champion? Gareth Potts has just been flawless throughout this match. They started off throwing bombs at each other. Both players were firing on all cylinders, but the one that's dropped to his knees a little bit now has been Chris Melling. You just can't see him missing, Keith, can you? Every time he cues at a ball, you just know it's going to go in the pocket.
Well, when they both started off, Tony, I don't think any of them were going to miss. But the difference in the match to date has been the fact that Chris has missed a couple and Gareth just hasn't. Gareth's made one bad safety where Chris has cleared up, and that's really all he's done wrong. He's been pretty solid.
Well, again, A1 position for Gareth Potts. And he just makes life so easy for himself. And he's down very quickly. He's looking very smooth now. Well, he's even putting a bit more extra topspin on the cue ball there. And down it goes, and Potts now leads here in Blackpool by 7 frames to 3.
th frame, Chris Melling to break, trailing 7 frames to 3.
Well, Chris Melling now has it all to do. He's breaking off, he finds himself 4 frames adrift. He's lost 4 in a row to Gareth Potts. He needed something off that break, and it's just not happening.
Open table
for the former 2-time world champion. You see the determination on his face as he thrusts his cue into the pack. But he's come up dry once again. And it's Potts back at the table.
Red balls in play. Time out.
That the finish is there on reds, and he didn't like the contact again on the cue ball, Gareth Potts. Once again, Sean Baker giving the cue ball a bit of a polish.
Time running.
Gareth Potts very observant to the rules. He went straight to his corner there while Sean Baker was cleaning the cue ball. Some of the players have been trying to gain a little bit of advantage by looking at the table, but not Gareth Potts. And this should be a simple out now, Keith.
Yeah, once again, as we said earlier, you know, both sets were there straight away. I actually thought the yellows were just as easy as the reds, but it was just where the cue ball had stopped after the break, so away he went on reds. As you can see, 4 left, all near the bottom pockets. Can't see Gareth making a mistake.
Well, he's doing the simple stuff exactly right. He's making the hard stuff look simple.
Yeah.
And he's gliding towards the finish line at the moment. You can see it firmly in his sights now. Sometimes it can, last few frames can be the hardest, but the pressure will be off him slightly by maintaining that healthy lead he has over Melling.
The only thing that would be interesting, Tony, really is if Chris can make something of a fight back, how Gareth will respond. At the moment, he hasn't been put under any pressure.
And another great shot there from Potts. He has the Midas touch out there at the moment, the young man from Stoke. And he's left himself a straight black ball into the left centre. And that's now 5 frames on the spin for Potts. And he marches into an 8-3 lead here in Blackpool over Chris Melling. Well, he's getting ever nearer his dream of landing the world title. Wasn't this a good shot, Keith, just to come around the back there and just flick into the red? Made everything simple once again. You just can't believe how well he's playing out there for his first ever world final.
12th frame, Gareth Potts to break, leading by 8 frames to 3.
Gareth Potts steps up the break. One of the few players who doesn't walk around and inspect the pack. He does trust the referee. And the big slam, and that's a great break off. but nothing from it. And now this is where Melling needs to capitalise.
It's a great break-off, Tom, if we just take another look at this. Balls flying all around the table, and that's all you can do when you break. Put the power in, get the balls moving, and you've got to try and make one. The only thing I would say, having a quick look at the way it's finished, is that the yellows are very easy, and there's no pot on the yellow to start with. So what's he going to do? He can pot a red, but as we can see, there's 3 or 4 reds that are in terrible
30
positions,
seconds.
really. He's got to be trying for yellows. But I cannot see an opening pot.
Well, he's going for a yellow. Throwing caution to the wind. And he's missed it. He had to go, Keith, like you said, because reds just weren't available. So in one respect, Gareth Potts was slightly fortunate to leave such a hard starting ball for Melling. Went for this thin cut. And Melling just cannot get back into this game at the moment.
Unfortunately, Tony, that the way the yellows are as well, you cannot see Gareth missing because he hasn't really made any potting mistakes in the whole match. Apart from where he maybe rattled the one down in the bottom pocket where he's going for now.
Well, if you look back to Potts' quarter-final against Yannick Beaufils, he strung 7 frames in a row together to win that match. He was 3-all. In fact, he was 3-2 down. And he won those 7 in a row. And then back in the semi-final, again he strung another session of 7 frames together against Jason Twist. And here we are, he's got 5 in a row against Melling. And that's been paramount in his success in this World Championship, as he's managed to keep stringing frames together, one after the other.
Yeah, running racks is what it's about, isn't it? And as I've said before, because we do obviously alternate break, it's a bit like tennis with the serve, and if you can break your opponent's serve a few times, and in this case obviously making the frames that your opponent's breaking on, and that's going to win you the game. Unfortunately for Chris, he hasn't been making many balls on the break in his matches, and when Gareth has, he hasn't left anything for Chris. And this frame was a typical example of how the game's gone, and that sometimes is the deciding factor. I think we've got to remember though that in years gone by, Chris has got 2 world titles under his belt, and the shoe's been on the other foot. There's been times where Chris has been breaking off and he's been getting all the running. So it evens itself out. You can't have it all the time, and that's just the way it goes.
Well, Potts just making doubly sure now of locking up this frame. Every one of them just edging closer to that world crown. Is there any way back for Chris Melling? If he loses this frame, I don't think there is. I just can't see how he can stop Potts from getting to the table, because he's still going to have a good few breaks, even if Melling gets balls off all of his. And just look at the position there. Absolute brilliance. This black for 9-3 and 6 frames in a row. And in it goes. And Potts marches on, and he's got to be feeling it now. He now leads Melling by 9 frames to 3. Well, Gareth Potts, that's now 6 in a row. And Keith, you just can't see Melling get back in this now, can you?
Well, as I said, there wasn't really much of a shot. He's took this one on into the middle. It was such a hard shot, but he had to go yellows. He could have looked maybe for some kind of a safety, but there wasn't really one there. And there you go. And in days gone by, of course, Melling makes shots like that.
13th frame, Chris Melling to break, trailing by 9 frames to 3.
Well, Chris Melling now breaking off. Frame number 13 out of a possible 21. Well, he's made 3 balls off the break, Melling. Might be making up 4 balls. As
Red
the
and
yellow
yellow
drops
balls
in.
potted.
But it's not a great split, is it?
Well, it's the same thing that happened before, isn't it? Once again, lots of power in the break, and then all of a sudden you get 3 or 4 balls dropping in, but it's no good. It's not what you want, Tony. You need balls on the table so you can manoeuvre.
Well, Melling must be feeling that it's not going to be his day. He's still going to go the usual cavalier approach, but he's got that red that's stuck just above the black ball. Might pass into the right hand centre pocket. It's still very tricky, and it's a lot harder when you're 9-3 adrift. One thing is for certain, Melling won't give up. He's shaking his head. There's a man now starting to doubt himself.
Last chance saloon though, this Tony, really. He's got to make this frame. I mean, he's already got a mammoth to perform if he's going to get back into this, but he's got to make this frame. He's a chance here. Maybe he can screw back and dislodge the black and the red in the same shot. That certainly seems to be what he's looking at. Or is he looking, Tony, to see if it pots? Surely he doesn't go.
Well, it'll be very, very tight. He spent an awful long time looking at it, and I think it will just sneak off the jaw. Well, he thinks so as well. He's still got to get all this black ball. Oh, that's a lovely shot there from Melling, and straight down for the black. And that's a great composed finish from Chris Melling. He's now dragged 1 back, but he still trails Potts by 9 frames to 4.
Well, at last Chris Melling manages to get another frame, but this is hard work for Chris, isn't it, Lee?
That's right. It was important that he didn't let Gareth get to 10 and 1 frame away from the world title, so I'll be pleased just to keep him 2 frames away at the moment.
But the gap at the moment is such that surely everything is now against Chris. I mean, it's really not been his night.
That's right. You feel that Gareth's going to get 2 more chances to win.
Let's just have a look quickly at the list of former champions here, and it really is impressive reading. Some great names there. And you see there Chris Melling, of course, doing it back in 2003, 2001. But some great players there.
Some great players, and obviously there'll be a new one on the trophy in a few moments' time.
Yeah, with Mick Hill gone, there'll be a new name back on there. But obviously Chris Melling hoping for the hat-trick. Not to be, I don't think.
Well, Gareth Potts breaking off now. Frame number 14. Leads 9-4, and you know he's going to get plenty of opportunities yet.
Red ball potted.
And this is going to be one of them. He's 2 frames away from being this year's 888.com World 8-ball pool champion.
Interesting break, this one. The black's tied up with a red. He can't get through to the red. At least it doesn't appear he can. So I'm just wondering if he will take the reds and then come back to that one later. Okay, he's taking yellows, Tony.
Yellow balls in
The
play.
yellows are easier, apart from the fact that you can't get at the black unless he leaves himself a snick somewhere. So let's see how he goes about this. Be very interesting. He's obviously full of confidence. He hasn't really made any mistakes in the potting department, but the black ball here will be very interesting. Well, he's not 100% ideal there. Wanted to cannon that red right out of the way of these 2 yellows. Can't see if he's 100% straight. If he is, he can just do a screw out. If he's got a slight angle, he can stun back into the red. But what's going to be important here is if he's going to dislodge this black, he's got to pick a ball somewhere where he's going to do it. And he's also got this other yellow down by the cushion and the bulk cushion there. I don't know how he's going to get around that one either.
Maybe he might just leave himself the double Keith into the centre pocket. He's got this in the middle. And that's unbelievable. Just when you
Red balls
thought
in play.
that Gareth Potts couldn't miss a ball, And he's dead straight as well, Keith.
First open pot he's missed, simple as that. If we just look there, he's just tried to pinch the pocket maybe, Tony, has he? Look, he's just come back off the jaw. Now, is this the inspiration that Melling needs?
I wonder how important that miss could be come the end of this final. You just never know.
And this is a makeable finish, Tony, because the red next to the black wheel pot in the middle pocket, he hasn't got to start moving the black or anything. That will be his last ball before the black. Well, I can't believe he's even looking at that shot. Well, would you be playing this one, Tony? Because I don't think I would.
30 seconds.
That's a great shot, Tony, it really is.
Well, just goes to show his confidence hasn't ebbed away, taking on that long pot. Maybe if it was just an act of defiance, Keith.
Well, for me, that middle pocket shot was the last one, you know, to get on the black. But no, not Chris. Here we go, around the boat again. Ball in the middle, leave a nice angle down for the black. Now, he's already missed one up the rail, Tony. I wonder if that will be in his mind when he takes this black on. Needs to get on it nicely. And he looks a little bit straight here.
Might be able to top spin into the far cushion and off the side rail and behind those yellows and get straight on it that way. I think that's what he's going to play. Oh my word. He didn't need to hit it that hard, Keith, did he?
Well, he was inventing an angle, Tony. Simple as that. I think he was dead straight and he's inventing the angle. You just cannot do it. If we just watch here, yeah, he's played it into the side of the pocket.
Well, I think he went the wrong way round those balls anyway, Keith. You were dead right. I'd have definitely left that red next to black to give you position onto it. But Gareth Potts gets a reprieve. And now does Gareth Potts yellow next to the black go into that middle, because I'm sure he'll be trying to leave that till last. He's left himself a little bit thin on this yellow ball. Could play safe, but he's not going to bother with that. And he's forced to take this yellow into the centre pocket, because he can get back to the yellow ball on the bottom rail, and I think he'll be looking to play the black ball up into the pocket where the red is of Chris Melling's, because should he miss it, if it just hangs over the bag, he's still in a great position, isn't he? Mind you, I'm not sure he can now. He might have to come back out and have the black in the same pocket. Well, this black ball to put Gareth Potts one frame away from winning the title. And that's a huge shot from Potts. And there's his girlfriend Angie. Not the one clapping, the one just before, and she'll be very happy. He's now leading 10 frames to 4 against Chris Melling. Well, Gareth Potts, I expect he can't believe he got back in that frame after he missed that yellow in the middle. We're going to have another look at it. And like you said, Keith, this was the first open pot that he missed. I mean, there you are, like you said, Keith, he tried to just borrow a little bit of the angle there when he had no need.
If he'd have played it a bit slower, for sure it would have gone. But that was unforgivable from Chris, really.
Well, a bit too much of the showman there for Melling, probably. Chris Melling
15
has got
frames.
it all to do.
Chris Melling to break, trailing by 10 frames to 4.
Well, Melling to break. Frame 15, possible 21. Melling needs to win at 7 frames in a row to land the title. If anybody
Red
could
ball
come
potted.
back, you feel that Chris Melling could, but it's going to need better splits off the break than this.
Yellow ball is nominated.
And then look at his break. See him make the red into the centre pocket. But just look at all the balls nestled together at the bottom of the table.
Yellow
He's to
balls
the
in
yellows.
play.
Well, sometimes, Tony, when your back's to the wall, you know, you do produce your best. And if Chris is going to get back into this match, he's got to produce one of the greatest comebacks of all time, I think. Not for the just simple fact he's got to reel off all these frames, but he's just playing an inspired opponent here tonight.
Well, Chris Melling, he's tried to get a double and in off the ball. I know he doesn't like safety, but
Red balls in play.
that is a shot of a frustrated man. It's like he's given up the ghost. I mean, that, well, is lunacy.
Exhibition shot, really, Tony, wasn't it? You know, it's the kind of thing we do in our exhibition matches. To play it in a world final when your opponent's on the hill, so to speak. So Chris, of course, has always been the showman, no matter what the situation may be. He likes to play very attacking, aggressive shots.
Well, I'm not sure if Potts wanted to cover that pocket, but if he has, he knows that Melling is just throwing his arm at balls at the moment, and might not be a bad idea to cover a bag and just let Melling go out there and probably win the frame for him.
Well, I'd have been doing it the whole match, Tony, so it makes no difference to me. But there hasn't been many tactical shots at any time from either player. Sometimes when you've got two very aggressive potting players, you know, the odd tactical shot is sometimes the key to unlocking a frame. Anyway, well, let's see what Chris does now. Still going for the out.
Well, every ball, it seems to me that Chris Melling Potts is one ball nearer his room and packing his case. He's not going to adopt any of your safety shots. And what a little shot there from Melling. And just when you think he's shooting himself in the foot. Well, I never thought this one would go past.
It's a cheeky little shot, Tony, isn't it? Now he's got to get this shot perfect. Cannon on the red, hold for the last yellow. And it's there.
Well, just when you thought he was dead and buried, he's back again. And it's an amazing finish, this from Melling. And down goes the black. He refuses to just walk away quietly, Melling. Pulls one back, but he still trails Gareth Potts by 10 frames to 5. Well, Chris Melling, well, he just didn't think there was a finish there.
Well, incredible shot, this one. There was a little gap. What he's done is hit the cushion first before the red, steered the yellow into the pocket and held for perfect position as well.
And Gareth Potts won't be too disturbed by that just yet. He knows he's going to get a couple more chances at least to get over the line. He's just got to stay focused now, Keith, isn't he? Just wait for his chance, and when it comes, he's got to take it.
16th frame.
Yeah, it'd be hard to believe, Tony, if he didn't get one more crystal clear chance in this match. All he's got to do is take that chance.
Frame number 16. Potts breaking off. If he gets the ball off this break, he's going to have a chance. And that was a gentle split there. Gareth Potts.
Open table.
Well, once again, you see, he's took some power out of this break. If we just have another look, he's tried to control the cue ball, nearly gone in off. He's just put a bit too much topspin on it. But what seems to be happening, and this, of course, is the way it goes when you're playing a match and you're not having a lot of running, is when your opponent isn't making a ball, he's not leaving you an easy out. And once again, if we look at the top rail, you've got a red and a yellow locked up tight, and there's a little cluster around the black spot as well. So, I mean, Chris likes to invent finishes, that's one thing, but this has to be something very serious if he's going to finish this one.
We just know you're not going to see any safety for Melling. There he goes. Regardless of where the yellows are, he's still going to try and pot them out. You'd have a yellow hidden in the referee's pocket and he'd try to bang it out there and into play. He's a complete madman. But he's very, very entertaining to watch, and you've got to love Chris Melling. He doesn't come any more flamboyant than this man. Well, the only way I can think of him trying to move this a load of top and spin and try and arc this cue ball round and kick the yellow out. And the shake was there again. He did not cue that well at all, did he, Keith?
I'll tell you what I noticed there, Tony. How often have you ever seen Chris move slightly on a shot?
Okay.
You know, I mean, he's one of the best cueists in our sport, as we know. And for sure there, he was moving on the shot. Bit of an anxious shot there, I do believe.
Well, a good containing shot there from Gareth Potts. The only yellow that Melling can see is the one that's tied up on the top rail. Let's have a look at this. Just look at the cue on his bridge hand. It's bouncing along there like a tractor down a dirt track.
Chris's problem here, of course, is the only really yellow he can go at is the one on the cushion. And of course Gareth wants him to play that, so he's unlocking the last red, because all the reds are there. So what does he do? He can see the yellow, so he can't just come off a cushion and roll up to one of the others.
We just had a little look at the clock. Not often seeing him doing that. Oh, that was incredibly close. He's unlucky, but now the balls are there for Gareth Potts. Let's have another look at this. He tried to go in off the red into the centre. It's just the pace kept the ball out. And Melling now knows that he might not get back to the table again. Potted the first red, and you can hear some of the crowd there say, yes, Gareth. And there's Angie Layton, Gareth's girlfriend, centre of the picture, and she will be probably feeling this more than him. She's been very supportive throughout the tournament, and probably been his strength through a lot of time recently as well. Now Gareth Potts, this I'd say is the key ball. If he can make this plant. Well, he's made it, but he's put the red safe. Well, it's not safe, but he's made it very, very awkward, Keith, hasn't he?
Well, it's not over yet, Tony, is it? Because what he's tried to do is roll in absolutely dead weight and then just leave this red. But he's nearly missed it. He's actually lucky to get the shot at all. Now, although he's ideal on the three reds down the bottom near the black, he's got these two on the rail to deal with.
Well, the balls are still there. They're in the open. Not exactly easy. But Gareth Potts is 4 balls away from being crowned the 2005 888.com World Pool Champion. Well, he's going to play the double.
Well, he's not ideal on the double, Tony. If that's what he's played for, he's definitely gone too far. If he had a straight double, he could just stun the white dead. So he's electing to take this up to the rail and using the yellow as a bumper to hold.
How tough a shot is this? And he's nowhere near it. And we've seen him fall over. Well, that last frame is proving to be the hardest one to get for Gareth Potts. Well, he gradually made those harder and harder, those reds. If Melling could get himself together, he could maybe put an ounce of doubt into Potts' mind.
This is the big shot now. Gets this one. He's pulled another one back.
Great shot there from Melling. And Chris Melling is going to be mopping up and pull another one back, and down goes the black. And Melling's now back to 10-6. The match is still alive here in Blackpool. Well, Melling's break. And now he's going to be thinking to himself, this is very, very important. Now, if he could get a ball here and run out, make it 10-7. Well, he's made his ball. And this is a better
Yellow ball
split for Melling,
potted.
Keith.
I think that's one of the best breaks he's had,
Red ball's
Tony, here.
nominated.
Really powerful break. Look at this. Look at, he's actually bent the cue as he's broke off. That's an awesome break, but he's got to make the most of it.
Red ball's in play.
Well, Melling just ought to just have a little think here and just take his time, because he's still in this final. Should have been buried a frame ago.
Time out. Chris, just stand.
And Melling, sip of the water as he waits for the rest.
Time running.
You're not going to see him miss anything with this. Great snooker player as well as Chris Melling, so he's used to all the equipment. But what sort of psychological scar could this have on Gareth Potts should Melling get these?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Tony, I think he's gone the wrong way there. I think he should have played the ball in the middle first and then gone back to them two, take the one past the yellow, then the one near the black. But we all see it differently, of course, and the way Chris plays, because he's so fast and fluent, he's back to where I said anyway. So that defeated my objection, didn't it?
Well, he's gone the coastal route, but he's still there, and he's now in prime position where you would be, Keith. And now a simple red, and it's going to be followed by a simple black. Moves straight down, and all of a sudden it's now 10-7, and Melling is back in the match. Well, that's 3 in a row now for Chris Melling. His best run that he's put together in this final. And at last he took one from the break. And the crowd will be starting to wonder if this could be, well, it would be the best comeback of all time should Melling get over the line and actually win this world title. He's starting to look a bit more confident. And Potts, after he made that mistake 2 frames ago, he hasn't been back to the table since. He's going to need a ball off his next break. Because if he loses the next frame and it's Melling to break afterwards and he does the same again, then we are in the twitch zone.
18th frame. Gareth Potts to break, leading by 10 frames to 7.
Destiny still in his hands. Gareth Potts breaking off, requiring 1 frame to win the world title. He's made the yellow in the corner, and once again the balls are there.
Yellow ball potted
for Potts to win the title.
Once again, a powerful break. They've both experimented with the breaks taking the power off, and now they've both gone back to the big power break. Of course, Gareth wants to concentrate on getting this last frame. The only problem, of course, when you give it all the power, you can't stun the cue ball in the middle of the table. It's kind of flying around the table somewhat. But I think he feels that with Chris mounting a bit of a comeback here, it's time to take a chance.
Potts opting for the yellows. And he's got his cue ball up far enough. Just. And you can see by the little skip in his step there, he knows that he's in prime position. He's got to be turning over inside, full of emotion now. Well, this is the most pressure he'll ever have in his life. It's so easy to start thinking about all the demons, and the thing that does get into your mind when you are trying to clear up to win a world title, that last frame is please don't miss. And that's what was going through my mind a few years ago, and I did miss. So I pulled my arm back on one ball and my leg fell off and my arm landed on the M6. But Potts now 2 balls away from getting on the black to win this year's world title. He knows he can see it there now, and surely this is Potts' moment. Just got to bring the cue ball back as Angie looks on. She's biting her tongue. He's got this black to be the 2005 world champion. In it goes, and Potts is a champion, and just look at his face. He's done it, and what a fantastic performance. He's defeated Chris Melling, and he goes straight over to his girlfriend Angie, who's, well, showing the emotion and embraces him, and why wouldn't she? What a brilliant performance from this young man. And there, I think it's his grandmother and grandfather and all his friends from Stoke-on-Trent congratulating the man. Darren Appleton's down there. Les Church, the junior manager, he was his manager when he won the junior world title. And Lee Kendall's girlfriend, and you've got to say that is one of the best performances you'll ever see in this world final. He's defeated Melling by 11 frames to 7.
So brilliant stuff from Gareth Potts. I think the emotion of the moment just getting to him here. Lee Kendall, we've just sat and watched a brilliant new champion. What a moment for him.
Fantastic, a great performance, and a worthy world champion.
Yeah, I mean, he is a good buddy of yours. We've known all along how good he's been, but I mean, he was just brilliant tonight.
Fantastic. Well done, mate.
Emotional stuff, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
it's a good one for him, yeah.
Absolutely. I tell you what, let's just spare a thought for Chris Melling. He's been a great champion in the past. Wasn't quite his night, but he was a good opponent.
He's a very good opponent, 2 times world champion, and I'm sure he won't begrudge Gareth a world title.
Yeah, terrific. But we've got a new champion. He's here for a while to come. Let's just, yeah, we are tears all around here. It's a great night. It really is a very emotional time. And let's now just look at some of these faces here as we savour the moment. And I think we ought to cross back for the big moment and the presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, in what has been a very high-class final, can I ask you to show your appreciation to both of these players? Thank you. First of all, Chris, you're always involved in great matches. 1 or 2 unfaults there as tonight. It could have gone either way. What are your feelings about the match?
Well, I think I lost the match in the first session. I missed 3 chances, which I probably could have closed my eyes and potted them. You know, and I don't normally do it. I'm not used to coming second in these events. But, you know, Gareth played brilliant. You can't take it away from him. He's been the best player in the world for the last 3 months, so, you know, he deserves it.
Well, I've got to ask you this, Chris. I know that you play the other cue sports as well. Are you going to stick with 8-ball now?
I'm still going to do both, you know. I'm always going to play snooker and pool, you know. Snooker's a lot harder than pool, but, you know, you can earn a living doing pool, so why not do it?
You've always been a great entertainer. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Melling. Gareth, you just heard what Chris has said. You really came here, the man in form. You won 2 of the last 3 tour events, yeah?
Before I say anything, I just want to dedicate this win to the man who made it happen, really, which is my father, who passed away a couple of months ago. So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be standing here now.
Well, there's not many dry eyes in the audience here. You've had some tremendous support from the people from Stoke, yes?
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. A lot of them, you know, they mean as much as me Paul. You know, they come and support me, and you know, they pull me through. You know, they're always there.
What about your lovely girlfriend? She's crying her eyes out there. Look.
That's no surprise.
When you came here this year, did you really fancy a chance of winning?
Yeah, without a doubt. I come here full of confidence. Like I said, I've won 3 out of the last 4 UK tours, so my confidence was sky high. and I just knew that, you know, I just had to get the chances to win the matches. I hadn't really performed under the cameras until this event, so that was sort of a weight off my shoulders when I won the first match, the quarter-final. And then after then I just sort of grew in confidence and, you know, just started potting balls off the break really, and believed that if I got my chances I could win.
Well, you only missed a couple of balls all evening, and it's been great to watch you play. Ladies and gentlemen, a great champion. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to ask you to welcome the presentation party consisting of Rob Mitchell, Sports Marketing Manager, 888.com, accompanied by our Tournament Director, Dave Higgins. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, first to the runner-up is a cheque for £3,000. Our congratulations for another wonderful tournament goes to Chris Melling. And now to the winner is a cheque for £10,000. The trophy and the title of this year's 888.com World Pool Champion goes to Gareth Potts.
So it's a standing ovation then from the crowd here at the Hilton Hotel on the seafront in Blackpool for our new world champion, Gareth Potts. He really has been an outstanding new champion, and I think he's going to be around for many years to come. Remember the name, Gareth Potts, just 21 years of age. A memorable final, Chris Melling well beaten, and Gareth Potts is the new world champion here in Blackpool. Lee Kendall, well, he's left us to go and see his mate, and why not? They're going to share, I'm sure, a couple of drinks at least. In the meantime, well done to our new world champion. Thank you for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. From all of us here in Blackpool, for now, it's goodbye. Take care.